What if the entire global economy could be shaken to its core by a single, narrow strip of water? A passage so tight, so fragile that one decision, one moment of conflict could send shockwaves across the entire planet. Fuel prices would skyrocket, supply chains would break down, and nations, millions of people would face sudden energy shortages overnight. This isn't a distant possibility. It isn't a theory. It is a reality the world depends on every single day. Welcome to the Strait of Hormuz, the most critical artery of global energy and the most dangerous choke point on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz lies in one of the most geopolitically sensitive regions in the world, the Middle East. It forms a narrow gateway between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, eventually connecting to the vast waters of the Arabian Sea. To the north lies Iran, to the south lies Oman, specifically a region called the Musandam Peninsula. At first glance, it may not seem extraordinary, but its geography tells a different story. At its narrowest point, the strait is only about 33 kilometers wide, and the actual shipping lanes used by oil tankers are even smaller, just 2 lanes of 3 kilometers each, separated by a buffer zone. This means that one of the busiest and most important trade routes in the world operates within an incredibly tight space, a fragile artery carrying the lifeblood of the global economy. Officially, the strait is bordered by Iran and Oman, but in reality, control is far more complex. Iran holds a dominant strategic position along the northern coastline. It has built military bases, missile systems, and naval capabilities specifically designed to monitor and influence traffic through the strait. Over the years, Iran has repeatedly warned that it could block the strait if its national interests are threatened. On the other side, Oman maintains a more neutral stance, focusing on stability and safe passage. But the story doesn't end there. Global powers, especially the United States, maintain a constant naval presence in the region. Warships patrol these waters, aircraft monitor the skies, surveillance systems track every movement. Because the world cannot afford to lose this route. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a regional asset. It is a global strategic hotspot. The importance of the strait becomes clearer when we look at who depends on it. Major oil exporting nations in the Gulf rely almost entirely on this route: Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraq, and Qatar. These countries produce vast amounts of oil and natural gas, but to reach global markets, they must pass through this narrow channel. On the receiving end are some of the world's largest economies: China, India, Japan, and South Korea. Even countries in Europe and North America depend indirectly on this flow to stabilize global energy prices. In total, more than 50 countries rely on the strait for energy supplies. This is not just a shipping lane. It is a global dependency network. The Strait of Hormuz is widely considered the most critical oil transit choke point in the world. Every single day, around 20 to 21 million barrels of oil pass through it. This accounts for nearly 1/5 of the world's total oil consumption. In addition to oil, massive quantities of liquefied natural gas, LNG, are transported, especially from Qatar, one of the largest LNG suppliers on Earth. This energy fuels cars and transportation, electricity generation, factories and industries, entire national economies. Without this steady flow, modern life would slow down and in many places stop completely. The scale of activity in the strait is staggering. Every year, over $1 trillion worth of goods pass through this narrow corridor. Energy products dominate, but other goods also move through these waters on a daily basis. Between 90 and 100 ships pass through, including some of the largest oil tankers ever built. These ships travel from the Gulf to markets across Asia, Europe, and beyond. Each vessel carries enormous value. Each journey is critical, and each day the world depends on this system working without interruption. Now imagine a sudden disruption, a conflict, a blockade, or even a temporary closure. Within hours, the effects would begin to spread. Oil prices would surge dramatically, possibly rising by 50% or more in a matter of days. Global stock markets would react instantly. Investors would panic. Currencies could fluctuate wildly. Countries like India, China, and Japan would face immediate supply shortages. Fuel would become scarce, electricity production could be disrupted, transportation systems would struggle, even nations far from the region would feel the impact. Because energy is not just a commodity, it is the foundation of the global economy. If the strait were closed for even a short period, the consequences would be severe. In just 1 week, billions of dollars in trade would be lost. Oil reserves would begin to deplete, prices for fuel, food, and goods would rise over a longer period. Inflation would surge worldwide. Airlines, shipping companies, and industries would suffer massive losses. Economic growth would slow, or even reverse. Developing countries would be hit the hardest. For many nations, energy imports are essential for survival. A prolonged disruption could push entire economies into crisis. From a strategic perspective, Iran holds a powerful position. By threatening to close the strait, Iran can apply pressure on global powers, influence political negotiations, demonstrate regional dominance. In times of conflict, this leverage becomes even more valuable. However, this power comes with risks. Closing the strait would also harm Iran's own economy as it relies on oil exports. It could trigger military responses from global powers, and it could lead to increased sanctions and international isolation. So while the threat is real, it is also a double-edged sword. The Strait of Hormuz has long been a flashpoint for conflict. During the 1980s, in the Iran-Iraq War, it became the center of the tanker war, where oil ships were targeted. In recent years, tankers have been seized, explosions have occurred on vessels, military drones have been shot down. Each incident raises fears of escalation. Each moment brings the world closer to potential crisis. To prevent this, international forces, including the United States Navy, maintain constant patrols in the region. Their mission is simple: keep the strait open at all costs. Given its importance, many countries have tried to reduce dependence on the strait. Pipelines have been built across Saudi Arabia, from the UAE to Fujairah. These routes allow some oil to bypass the strait. But there's a problem. They can only handle a fraction of the total volume. The majority of oil and gas still depends on this narrow waterway. For now, there is no true replacement. As global energy demand continues to grow, the importance of the Strait of Hormuz will only increase. At the same time, geopolitical tensions remain high, military presence continues to expand. New technologies are being developed for energy transport. Some countries are investing in renewable energy to reduce dependence on oil, but this transition will take time. Until then, the world remains tied to this narrow passage, a single point of vulnerability in an interconnected global system.